Let me ask you something really uncomfortable. I kind of ask you this every single day, but that's what I'm trying to do. What would happen to your sense of security if your tools of the trade, whatever it is you do to make money, disappeared? Not your money disappearing, not your house disappearing, your edge, your skills, your network of people, your credentials, whatever it is, your platform. It doesn't make a difference. What happens if those things disappear? Where's your sense of security go with that? Because most people aren't actually trusting in Hashem. What they're trusting in is in their systems, their tools of the trade, let's call it that. Whether it be their job or their connections, their reputation, their foolproof strategy, call it, right? But as long as those ingredients are the places that they feel calm, that's what's making them feel at peace, take them away, and that's when panic sets in. Rabbeinu Bachya describes this person like this. He compares it to someone from thousands of years ago called the alchemist, someone who desperately goes ahead and mixes different metals together to come up with a formula to make what we call fool's gold. And today we don't call it alchemy, but we call it something else, maybe grinding away, hustling, whatever it is. All those different terminologies that we might use for an alchemist. We do have some people who are swindlers as well. But in reality, it's the same illusion. The alchemist believes that his tools are to create gold. And the Baal Bitachon knows that they never do. In Shaar HaBitachon, Rabbeinu Bachya teaches one of the most radical ideas in Judaism. A person with true Bitachon does not depend on the tools of his trade to earn a living. We've spoken about this many times. Not because effort is unnecessary, but because effort was never the source of their income. We spoke about this many times. Hashem can provide without tools of the trade. Right? He can replace your security deposit, whatever that is, without giving you those things. And that difference creates something that the alchemist will never have. Peace of mind. Today, we're opening to the first of the 10 ways that Rabbeinu Bachya shows that a baal Bitachon is greater than the alchemist, this person who relies on their trade. And why? The more you rely on your ingredients, the less you'll ever feel insecure. I'm Ravav, and this is Shaar HaBitachon. All right, here we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's shiur should be the Ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dova Cohen, and B'schos the Refu Shalema Bekarov, Meshalom ben Sarachel, and Miriam Bas Sarah. Today, we are on page 25 in the order of Vigdor for those who are following along. And today we're actually starting an interesting segment. So we're talking about another benefit of Bitachon. Another benefit of Bitachon is freedom of worry, that we don't have to worry about things, right? A baal Bitachon, someone who trusts in Hashem, understands that everything's got its place, everything's got its time, and everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be because that's what Hashem intended it to be. And therefore, it's easy for us not to worry because we're not changing all that we're just doing our part. That's the high level. What we're going to break down today is, there's this concept that the person who really has no worries is what we call someone the alchemist. What is the alchemist? The alchemist, back in the day, was a person who made fool's gold. What he would do is, it was mixed together different materials like copper, tin, and some other stuff, and he would create something that looked like gold, and he would then sell it as such. And so, in reality, when you are a person who could take something that's worth $1 and make it so that people want to pay for it $100, you're really a secure person, because at the end of the day, you're printing cash at that point. And especially if it's something that you're making that everybody wants and they can't get enough of it. And that's what gold is about. So the alchemist who creates this fool's gold, everyone wants to be the alchemist because hypothetically, you don't have any more problems anymore. You could just, if you run low, mix up a few ingredients and sell it on the market and you're good to go. So Rabbeinu Bachya is going to bring 10 different reasons as to why being a baal Bitachon is a whole lot better than being an alchemist. And now the first reason he discusses over here today, or the first advantage, rather, that I should say, over the alchemist is that a person who's an alchemist, what does he need in order to create fool's gold. He needs raw materials. So let's say he's on vacation and he runs low on cash. Now, he's got no materials with him. Everything's back at home. And so what happens over here right now, he's high and dry, and he's left without any money, has nothing to do. And so there is a time that the alchemist may wind up in a situation where he really can't create that ease of income, that ease of life, or that security that we're looking for in life, and in cash, that is. And so how that correlates with the Baal Bitachon is as follows. Rabbeinu Bachya says like this: Techilostem Shabal HaKemiya. First, this alchemist, tzarich ledvarim yuchadim damalacha. He needs specific things, specific raw materials in order to make his full goal. Lo yugma lo dava zulosam. He can't accomplish anything without them. V'lo yimtzaim b'chol eisa b'chol makam. And he won't find them all the time, and he won't find them in every place that he's going to be. V'habotech b'elekim. But the person who is the Baal Bitachon, tarpoi muftach loy mikol siba mesiba sa'olam. His sustenance is assured one way or another from whichever cause among the causes in the world that Hashem will provide. Here's the point that Rabbeinu Bachya is making. Every one of us on this shiur here today has a job or a business or an industry that they're involved in. Now, say you're a tradesman. You have tools of your trade. Every business has tools of their trade. Maybe it's a knowledge base, maybe it's a system, customers, all those different things. What we're talking about over here is that a person who might not have full bitachon today, might not understand this concept, and what we're trying to allude to with the first example, with the first advantage that a baal bitachon has over the alchemist, is when the alchemist loses his tools of the trade, he loses all ability to have that security. Whereas a baal bitachon, if God forbid someone loses their job, if God forbid someone finds themselves in a position where they don't have their hammer and their screwdriver and the drill, right, so to speak metaphorically, they still are going to be presented with their sustenance by Hashem, because that's what Hashem wants you to have. Hashem doesn't need you to have your drill in order to provide you with a livelihood. Hashem doesn't need you to have a specific customer in order to provide you with a livelihood. So a Baal Bitachon, the biggest benefit that you're going to get in this comparison is that when you lose a customer, when you break your tools, your truck breaks down, your business closes up, it doesn't matter what you want to call it. When you don't have the underlying item that until today you relied on for your sustenance, you are going to fall apart. But the Baal Bitachon and what we're learning today is that we can't fall apart. Because the sustenance that we are given by Hashem, that doesn't come from the tools or any other materialistic ways that we have in this world. That all comes from Hashem. So the trust that we need to have is in Hashem, and not in the tools of the trade, so to speak. When we start trusting more in Hashem and less in the tools of the trade, when we don't have so-called tools of the trade, whatever that might be for you, we're not going to lose hope. We're not going to be sad. We're not going to break down and say, oh, forget it, I'm done. We're not going to throw in the towel. Why? Because we understand that parnassah that we are getting is not coming like the alchemist thinks. It's not coming from his raw materials, from his tools of the trade. We know where it's really coming from. Now, Rabbeinu Bachya brings a few different psukim and a few different stories that he says shows how Hashem was able to provide even though it was out of the norm. He says, Kamasha Amar HaKasav, it says in the Torah, the man was provided. And one of the reasons the man was provided in that manner to let us know that a man doesn't need bread to survive in life. That man, which is not bread, it's a different type of food, sustenance, I should say. You use the word sustenance, right? When you don't have your tools of the trade, you think you're falling apart? No, Hashem can provide you with sustenance from any way. You can still give you plenty and plenty of parnassah, even with you thinking that you lost the tools of your trade. For the causes of sustenance are not lacking to Hashem at all times in any place. Unlike the alchemist, who when he's on vacation and he's not in his shop and he doesn't have the raw materials with him, he can't provide himself with that tool, with the tools of the trade to make a living. Or if he's in a faraway land, or if he finished his ingredients and he doesn't have any more, now he's stuck, right? And that's kind of what he's talking about. And in addition, he's talking about some times where Hashem provided people, some stories, he's going to be real quick with some stories of where Hashem provided individuals with sustenance out of the norm. This is Kashidata Midvar Im Orvim. With the story of Eliyahu Navi with the ravens. Eliyahu Navi was hiding from Achav. And he was hiding in a cave, and the ravens went into Achav's kitchen, actually, took food from his table and brought it to Eliyahu Navi in the hiding place. So you see, Eliyahu Navi was hiding in a place where there's no food, but Hashem provided him with food. Another place, Eliyahu Navi was still on the run, and he comes across an almana with a child, and she only has a little bit of oil and a little bit of flour. Eliyahu Navi promises that she's going to have bountiful flour and oil, and she does. She has this pitcher of oil that never runs out, this bucket of flour that never runs out, and she has food to survive for a long, long time. And then it talks about where by Avadia, where he's hiding the Nevi'im because Izeva wants to kill them. And again, over there you see where Hashem provided. Hashem provides in so many different ways, but what's holding us back from trusting in Hashem is we think that there's only one way how Hashem provides. We think that Hashem gives us our sustenance in a certain manner through our job or whatever that is, how we're doing it today. And when that thing that we do today is not doing well, we tend to lose hope. We tend to get down on ourselves, and it's a normal thing. And what we're learning over here today is that we shouldn't fall prey to that. We shouldn't fall apart and say, that's it, I'm done, throw in the towel. You can't, because this entire time, your livelihood, when it was good, it wasn't coming to you from the business or the job or whatever you were doing to make a dollar. It was coming to you from Hashem. Hashem chose that avenue for you. And Hashem will choose another avenue for you later as well. So we're trying to understand over here, the first advantage that a baal Bitachon has over the alchemist, when you don't have your tools of your trade, when you think everything's falling apart, when your customers are gone, if the business closes, you can't work in it, whatever it is, Hashem is going to provide for you. Because Hashem doesn't have a certain way how he provides for each person. Hashem could do whatever he wants. He can make up whatever he wants. And he will make it up for you because he promised he will take care of you until the day you die. And that's the truth. Thank you everyone for joining us all here today. And as always, I love you all.